All right. First of all, I want to say about Jordan Peterson, it's perfectly acceptable to make fun of him for crying. That's not a contradiction, because they keep going like, "Oh, you want men to express their emotions or whatever." But Mike Tyson does that shit, and nobody makes fun of him for it. And Norm Macdonald did that shit at Letterman. I well up sometimes when I get emotional. It's perfectly fucking normal. You just breathe.
Yeah,
3 seconds.
if you cry on a super public platform, I mean,
Mike Tyson does it all the time. There's a reason why people don't go after Mike Tyson, because Mike Tyson isn't trying to erase trans people, and also Mike Tyson actually is a tough guy. So
yeah, you saw what he did to that kid on that airplane that was fucking with him.
Exactly.
Fuck that poor kid up.
Yeah, dude. But
that kid was just drunk.
The reason why Jordan Peterson gets made fun of is because he's constantly threatening people, physically threatening people, and B, he fucking wants to erase trans people from existence. He said that. We now have him saying that out loud. He said that society cannot deal with the damage it does for those people to express themselves. That's what he said. So, that's why he gets made fun of. That's why nobody makes fun of Mike Tyson. Also, no one's going to go up to Mike Tyson going, "Hey, Mike, you kind of look like a pussy when you start tearing up over your dead daughter," you know. He cries over nonsense. Jordan Peterson cries over nonsense. He's a 50-something-year-old therapist. He knows how to breathe.
That is true, though.
He can take 3 seconds to fucking breathe, and he doesn't need to be crying over fucking the existence of incels. That's not like a thing that people get upset over. Anyways,
it's also appropriate to make fun of them for crying if they're doing it to help prove their point. You know what I mean? Okay. He's just doing that shit to sell his point.
But he doesn't cry in this video. This is the video of him being a tough guy, which to me I think is underappreciated.
Was he go for like a Clint Eastwood type tough guy?
Yes, he's always doing that shit. Is that where the speaker is?
Yes.
Okay, this may be one of our last videos of this ilk, so feed that speaker in there.
Because why ban only him? Generating, in my opinion, pushing Trump underground to the degree that you did made everything that was objectionable about his mode of action in terms of its public effect worse, not better. And I don't see any evidence whatsoever that you have seriously contended with that possibility at all. There is plenty of destructive, conspiratorial thinking on the right, some of which has turned out to be all too justified.
Okay, but that's why Trump got pulled off of Twitter, because he used Twitter to help organize an insurrection against the United States, which is massively illegal. Now, there was another guy who used social media to advocate protecting the Capitol that day, and that motherfucker's going to jail for 3.5 years just for saying, "Hey, let's get some guns, stand around the Capitol and protect it." That was illegal in the state of Florida where he was at, I guess.
If they try to do any sort of charges, Trump will just get pardoned when there's another Republican in office.
Okay, so now all these guys are spanking it because Elon Musk bought Twitter for $45 billion. Okay. Elon Musk is a terrible businessman because he may have just bought the biggest junk stock in fucking history because there's a court case coming up before the Supreme Court. It's called Section 230.
You're right. He just may have invested in Doge again, more or less.
Well, this is the reason why.
Continue.
Okay, so I'm explaining to you this the first time.
Right.
Nobody else is talking about this, so maybe I'm missing out on something. Maybe these social media companies own a fucking Supreme Court justice. I don't see any other shows talking about this. I'm in a panic over it. But there's liability protections for social media companies. So, let's say we get up on this show and we say Ginny Thomas also helped organize the insurrection. Okay, which she may well have. So Clarence Thomas and Ginny Thomas can sit there and sue us if they want to. And YouTube may take the video down. But the problem is there's 50,000 other fucking pages that are going to say the exact same thing. So Clarence Thomas, it's my understanding, has the opportunity with one loop of his pen to completely fucking erase that by making YouTube liable. So, YouTube can't function if they're inundated with a barrage of lawsuits, whether they're valid or not. So they just have to... So our show, for example, everything is, this guy sucks, that guy sucks, this guy sucks.
Sometimes it's this lady sucks.
This lady sucks.
Sometimes.
Yeah, so we love the ladies too much, though. But...
It is very man-heavy, just like comedy.
So... they get... Okay, anyways, so... Theoretically, if we don't lose the channel, if we're not on some fucking list... And again, I could be just chicken littling this shit.
You have already said the word insurrection like 4 times. So
okay,
it's
so
not good.
we can... we're going to have to clear out every fucking video with somebody's name in it. So we're going to be a channel of just stand-up clips, and I guess we could talk about movies, or we could do that thing where we go, hey, Cam, me and your mom are getting a divorce. You know that reference?
No.
Oh, it's a video of this dad that walks in and tells jokes to his daughter. He goes, hey, Cam, and then it's like a dad joke. It's like a pun.
Yeah, but one time he just walks in and says, hey, Cam, your mother
hey, Cam, your mother's leaving me.
And that's just the
that's
video.
the bit, yeah.
That's hilarious.
No, I mean, that would be fun. No, he never did that.
Oh, okay. That would be really
I'm
funny.
just saying we have to do a show like that.
Okay, yeah. Well, to be fair, a lot of the people we go after, we use their, like, online name, their handle or whatever.
I don't know if that's going to make much of a difference. They're just going to They're going to just clear out all the sites.
You know,
and do
what's
that.
the difference if his name is like, what's that do? Avalon. What if his name was just like
there probably is
Cody Smith? Wasn't there a guy that you talked to?
Destiny?
Destiny.
Oh, Hunter Avalon. Yeah, Hunter Avalon.
Okay.
Yeah, he blocked me on Twitter. Yeah, so that would fall. That applies to Twitter too.
Yeah, no.
So there's not going to be a fucking Twitter.
That'll be the end of social media.
Pretty much.
Isn't the worst thing. It being taken off of YouTube sucks.
Yeah.
Because of all the endless content that we're losing.
Okay. But
like
before the internet, we had this thing that's known as manufacturing consent, because there was a limited amount of places where you can get information from. So really, there's MSNBC, NPR. I don't even know if Democracy Now! Will be allowed to exist. And what do you call it? Some odd radio stations here and there. But really, some late night talk show hosts versus Fox News. More or less CNN. Newsmax own Sinclair Media Groups that own all these local stations and use those for propaganda. So, I mean...
Even though, if he were to sign this, how long would it take to take... Do you remember...
I think we'll have enough time to dump every fucking video we've got.
Well, if not longer, do you not remember 6 years ago when everyone was freaking out about net neutrality?
Yeah, I know, but I don't even understand what net neutrality really is, but...
Net neutrality was the idea...
They overturned Roe v. Wade.
No, I mean, listen, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just providing other aspects here. I mean, if you want, I can just agree with you.
No, tell me. I don't know.
But net neutrality is the idea that, everything on the internet, in a way, is, equal. So you pay for the internet, and then you get all of the internet.
Yeah.
And that is net neutral. But what they wanted to do by removing it is kind of make it like cable packages with the internet. And it's with this package, you can access this and this and this. And with this, you can access this, this, and this. And so it would... It
would price people out of information.
Yeah, it would, and it would bring a lot of just as much, because I mean, a lot of people alone would be like I'm not gonna, I mean, I guess most people only use the internet to shop and for social media and YouTube.
Okay, but remember when he said this?
Up yours, woke moralists. We'll see who cancels who.
He wasn't kidding. These guys hate
woke moralists.
They, first of all, in spite of the fucking fact that they virtually control, I mean, they dominate social media. The right dominates social media. But they fucking can't stand getting owned all the time. If you really want to install an authoritarian government, you have to have control over social media. You have to.
Totally.
Because before social media, they could lie the country into a war. You couldn't do that today. There's no fucking way they could get away with weapons of mass destruction today.
You're right. MySpace did not exist in 9/11, so... Although news wasn't really spread like that for MySpace. That was when social media was still for fun and just that.
Yeah, so I think we're going to pretty much be talking about movies.
What if that's what social media becomes? It just becomes like that, though. Like
what?
Just for fun. Like MySpace was. You know what I mean?
That's what it's going to turn into.
I'm not necessarily super upset with that, but, I mean, the fact that there's...
Probably wouldn't have a QAnon.
Exactly. Like, there's a lot of things that the internet and social media produces that would be really okay to be gone.
I'm definitely only thinking about myself right now.
Yeah, like, you have to, like, for humanity...
We
like,
really found a niche here.
Yeah, because, like, I've heard people say it for the past few years, is that, like, probably here in the next 5 or 10 years, we're going to look at these in social media like we looked at, like, cigarettes now.
Dude, I'm going to have to move to a fucking city that'll book me. I'm fucking serious. All my eggs are in this basket because I put all my bits into this, and then that's what I do. Like, no one's going to fucking touch me here on stage, so I have to go back to, I got to do it the old-fashioned way.
Why isn't anyone going to touch you here?
I don't know. Go ask Adam Dominguez. Anyways, we haven't gotten to the funny part of the Jordan Peterson video. Now that the depressing part's over, let's laugh at Jordan Peterson's Clint Eastwood impression.
And persecuting those who tend toward that form of conceptualization certainly exacerbates the tendency.
Look at him trying to read.
But in this era of self-defined identity, you and your people feel good about it. And that's what counts. Although objective facts tend to be pesky things. And
by the way, just as a reminder, this is him still upset that he got kicked out of he got kicked off of Twitter for dead naming Elliot Page.
So easily dispensed with. You could have just let him continue with his Twitter actions and let the people judge. That's what the Constitution of your country enables them to do. And you interfered with that. And you haven't changed your mind. And you've doubled down instead. Despite the revelation of your own company's clear and ongoing moral and practical inadequacy. Back to my situation.
He's going to contradict himself.
From the domain of more general concerns about censorship
as he usually
and carelessness. I have, frankly, found it a relief to be banished from the Twitter world.
And why would
the
that be?
Anonymous trolls, psychopaths, narcissists, and Machiavellians allowed by your own inconsistent and
such as Donald Trump. Okay.
Psychologically inappropriate rules make operating there on any scale frustrating and anger-provoking beyond tolerance. The fact that you so casually enable that tiny minority of cowardly anonymous people who have nothing better to do than cause trouble by generating and promulgating the kind of derisive, contemptuous, LOL, LMFAO, bro, brah, dude comments that would get anyone who dared utter even one of them in person to their targets immediately punched in that mocking, cowardly, self-aggrandizing face means that your platform represents a signal threat to the integrity of the discourse upon which the stability of your country and the mental health of its youth depend.
Okay. So, like, I got decked in a parking lot by an MMA guy, a Joe Rogan fan. I won't call him a comedian. He's a grifter. And he insulted me, and I insulted him back. At no point while I was insulting him, I thought, well, I thought, I don't care what the repercussions are. I'm not going to be bullied by anybody. But at no point did I ever think I could go toe-to-toe with a guy like that. But I can go toe-to-toe with this motherfucker. And he's constantly threatening people on Twitter. And I never do that shit. But he's like, I'll slap you happily. And there's another thing where he's talking about how you can't argue with a woman because you don't have the same parameters. He's like, with a man, we talk, we argue, a line is crossed, and then it gets physical. And I'm like, dude, no, but this motherfucker's never been in a fight in his life.
Do you think he has writers?
No. I think you could tell it's because the writing is so bad.
That's why I was wondering, like, it's so try-hard eloquence.
It is. The guy's never heard of Hemingway. He really always longs to be taken seriously as a writer and a thinker. But the guy's never read Ernest Hemingway.
What did he start out at? Like, how did he become...
A psychology professor.
Oh, okay.
Which is as common as the fucking cold. So, listen, I will meet this motherfucker. He needs to get back on Twitter so we can get into an argument. And then I can cross the line. And then he can threaten me. And then we can meet in any Walmart parking lot at 3 o'clock in the morning. Just like we're in high school. He can bring Miss Piggy with him and her kung fu fighting ass. He can bring Gonzo. He can bring Fozzie Bear. He can bring the whole Dr. Tooth and the whole band. Because he's Kermit.
Okay, I get where you're going now. I can hear it
He can
now.
bring Gonzo, Super Gonzo.
Like, what, did he make an appearance on Sesame Street when he was a young child? I'm confused.
No, because everybody compares
Dude,
him to Kermit.
but you threatened to fight him, he'd be like, before we fight, I want you to think about this for 28 hours. I want you to go and think about this.
That for 20,000 hours.
For at least 1 day and a half.
By a large margin.